So yeah, he did know. He wasn't caught off guard. He just thought it was a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Omaomi, aka Petite Diva, and this video is all about a post that a creator saw on Reddit. So this creator saw a post on Reddit about a guy who was crying that his girlfriend dumped him and he was being consoled by his guy friend. Now the girlfriend of the guy friend asked him to find out if the guy that was dumped knew that his ex-girlfriend was unhappy. He said that he knew that she was unhappy about the relationship and he just thought that it was a rough patch in their relationship.
I just found something on Reddit that is kind of groundbreaking and I needed to share it with you guys because it put words to something that I couldn't voice for a really long time. And I think we need to add it to our vocabulary like weaponized incompetence and king baby. I found it in this Reddit thread. My partner came home all outraged that his friend was crying as he had been dumped. Since I'm friends with the ex-girlfriend, I wasn't surprised and told him so. When he went to see his mate the next day, he was being supportive. I told him to ask a few questions to ascertain whether he really was caught off guard, as if it was unexpected to me. I'm confused why it would be unexpected to the man in the actual relationship. Partner came home and went, So I spoke to him and he said he knew she'd been unhappy, but he thought it was just a rough patch. So yeah, he did know. He wasn't caught off guard. He just thought it was a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness. My friend, the ex-girlfriend, is thriving. A tolerable level of permanent unhappiness. Wow, that is a life-changing sentence. I agree, because this is what I think is the baseline for men. They get into relationships with women that works for him, but where she suffers, and then slowly chip away at her freedom and her happiness and use weaponized incompetence to get her to a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness. That's what it is. I love the internet.
So the boyfriend that was dumped thought that his ex-girlfriend unhappiness was a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness. Whatever that means. Anyway, people had things to say about the post and the video.
Did know. He wasn't caught off guard. He just thought it was a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness.
So men often say that they were blindsided by their wives or girlfriends wanting to leave the relationship. And I saw this come up a lot in the recent conversations about no-fault divorce. So men, stick around because I'm going to share my #1 piece of relationship advice to help you avoid this. But Shah here, a creator who is well worth your follow, is sharing a story about a man who said exactly that, only he did know his girlfriend was unhappy. He just thought it was a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness. Which, oof. And then Soberside, a creator I greatly admire and respect, who is also well worth your follow, stitched that video and added her thoughts, which I will link in the caption so that you can navigate your way to both videos. And she added this.
Any level of toleration is sending a message to your partner, your male partner, that is an acceptable level of whatever it is they're doing.
Now, over the years, the women that I'm friends with have often called me in to play dude whisperer and explain some of the behavior of the men in their relationships. And one of the things that I have said consistently time and time again over the years is he will do what you allow. That what you tolerate, he'll just do more of. So I think there's this expectation that since he cares, over time, eventually he will notice. He'll change. He'll do the decent and right thing, and then frustration when that never actually happens. And that's because men love to live in the I didn't know about things they obviously knew. I didn't know it was wrong for me to DM that girl or to like all of her pictures on Instagram. I didn't know it would be such a big deal for me to go out for drinks alone with a female coworker or go to a strip club. I didn't know you needed help with chores around the house. It's how I didn't know you were unhappy actually means I knew you were unhappy. I just didn't know you were unhappy enough to leave. And sadly, decades of terrible relationship advice has not only fed into but also enabled this behavior in men by suggesting that it is the unfortunate consequence of their preference for direct communication rather than what it actually is, which is another form of weaponized incompetence. Which is why when women are clear and direct about setting boundaries about the kind of relationships they want, men get irrationally irate about it, even men who are not in a relationship with that woman. But it does not take direct communication for you to know if your partner is unhappy. Spend enough time with the person, live with them, and you know when they are unhappy or when they are happy. And men joke about this. Oh, she's in a mood. Oh, she's so moody. Oh, when mama's not happy, nobody's happy. Men are well aware when their partners are unhappy, but they're also well aware about the things that upset, annoy, stress them out, and trigger them. As an example, my fiance was working last weekend to pick up extra hours, and I went to go work out of the kitchen. Now I noticed that the sink had a few dishes in it, that the countertops could do with wiping, and so could the oven range. Now it was not dirty enough to bother me, but at this point I am well aware that clutter and mess stress out my fiance and make her anxious, adding to the stress of her already working the weekend. So I took a few minutes, and while she was working, I deep cleaned the kitchen, and then I went right back to doing what I wanted to do. And when she came into the kitchen later that day, she burst into visible tears of joy. No doubt she'd seen the kitchen earlier in the day before I had, and just added it to her tally of things to do, adding to her overall stress. And so me also recognizing it, prioritizing it, and taking care of it without being asked was incredibly moving. So here it is, fellas, the single most important piece of relationship advice I can give you. It will prevent you being blindsided and being so passive about dealing with the issues in your relationships. It's a mantra you need to repeat every day, and it goes like this. If it is important to you, it is important to me. Make your partner's priorities your own. You do not need to agree, you do not need to understand. But you do need to learn what makes your partner happy, what stresses them out, what triggers and annoys them, and then you spend time every day putting effort into dealing with those priorities. No manipulation, no mind games, it's that simple. But also recognize that expecting your partner to tolerate any level of permanent unhappiness in a relationship with you is you admitting that they would be better off and happier without you. So don't be surprised when they agree with you.
He wasn't caught off guard. He just thought it was a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness.
Oh my goodness, I really think that you should watch that creator's video. It just really illuminated something for me, and I feel kind of shook. Essentially, she found a Reddit thread discussing a breakup where the Reddit poster was saying she didn't think that the man in the breakup should have been really caught off guard when it ended, and found out that he knew that the woman was unhappy, but he thought that it was a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness. Just let that sink in. A tolerable level of permanent unhappiness. And the creator goes on to say how she sees this all the time, you know, in relationships where essentially it serves the man and not necessarily the woman, and they use weaponized incompetence and so on and so forth. And women end up in this relationship where there couldn't possibly be a better way to describe it. They just have a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness. And I want to take it almost a step further. I don't think that this is just used to like maintain a relationship. I think that a lot of the men that kind of slowly tear down their relationships, you know, and that essentially want to exit them, but they won't exit them themselves. They want to make you so unhappy that eventually you will end the relationship, but they don't want you to be so unhappy that you blow up at them or make their lives difficult in the process. So they probably get you down to a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness, a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness, in the hopes that you will leave, but maybe you'll just leave quietly. I think this is weaponized in breakups. And certainly with me, I know with my last long-term relationship, this is kind of what it was like. And I mean, he wasn't a horrible person, but it was like 2 years of a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness until it was not tolerable. But it wasn't this huge messy breakup, and it could have been. We owned a home, so we had to get like a legal separation, and we were engaged. Like, it could have been messy, but it wasn't. And even at the end of it, I said to him, like, when I broke up with him, I said, somebody just has to shoot the horse. It's weird, like I write about animals but not horses. I don't know why I went to horses. Oh, he's just like, I'm out of here. Maybe it's because the relationship was big and leaving it was a big thing, and a horse is a big animal. But I think that this is not just used to maintain a relationship so it serves a man. I think it's used to force us out of relationships quietly.
Tolerable level of permanent unhappiness.
A tolerable level of permanent unhappiness. Go back and watch the whole video. I love that phrase. You often hear so many times, if a man's wife files for divorce or if his girlfriend breaks up with him, what is the top thing we all hear them say? I was blindsided. They're not blindsided because they don't know that we're disappointed, that we're upset. We've had the discussions. We've talked to them about these things. We've brought it up. They just chose to ignore it. What they're blindsided by is the fact that they've been conditioned to believe that once you grow up, if you do things right, you'll be given a wife, and it'll be her job to raise your kids, to run your household, and to take care of you. If she's a good wife, she'll just be quiet and do what she's supposed to do. And if you're really lucky, she'll actually trick herself into believing that she loves doing that. You can use her, you can abuse her, you can make her live in an environment where she feels like she has to walk on eggshells, and she will stay with you. You don't have to be willing to take family pictures, and if you do, you bitch and complain the whole time. You don't have to plan trips or do anything with her, and if you do, you'll just bitch and complain the whole time. You don't have to take any effort to get her gifts for Mother's Day, for her birthday, or for Christmas. Because if you do, you'll just bitch and complain about doing it, or just throw some shit at her that you grabbed at a random box chain grocery store, and she'll like it and lie to you and say that she loves it. You were conditioned to believe that women are here to coddle you and to put up with your shit and to make your life easier and to make you comfortable. And when one day the wife that you have or the girlfriend you have decides that enough is enough and I'm getting the short end of the stick and this shit is not working out for me, I'm losing myself, I'm losing my health, and I'm actually stuck with an asshole that doesn't give a shit about me. The moment she realizes that and she has an epiphany and she decides she's done, all of a sudden you're blindsided because this goes against the plan. This wasn't how it's supposed to go. She made vows with you in sickness and in health, but what that really means is in your sickness and to the detriment of her health, in her richness and in your poorness and whatever you're in. She's supposed to stick beside you no matter what. So what do you mean you don't want to do that? All the men who were blindsided weren't really fucking blindsided. They just can't believe that you broke free and you're growing against the mold of what the world told them they deserved, which is a wife, someone to continue taking care of them where their mother left off. Even with me, my abusive ex-husband will tell you he was blindsided, but the motherfucker was abusive and cheating out of the ass. We're supposed to be willing to give up our health and our identities in order to serve them, and then when we don't want to do that, it's controversial.
I just found something on Reddit that is kind of groundbreaking, and I needed to share it with you guys.
There is no growth in a comfort zone, and there is no comfort in a growth zone. Howdy, y'all. I'm Dr. Rashonda Strickland. Please go back and watch this creator's full video for the full context of what she's speaking about. She is discussing a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness, specifically in regards to relationships. However, I will not be talking about that. I just want to discuss the mindset that comes along with that. So in reference to the quote that I said just a minute ago, this is one of the things that I like to talk about with clients when we discuss states of change, that it is very easy to develop the mindset that I'm just okay with the way life is going and it is what it is. Now, there are times where that is very self-protective, but then there are also times where that is self-destructive. And it is very essential to really look at, okay, so how did I get to this point? How did I get to the idea that my problems are permanent, but my solutions are temporary? It's important for a person to be able to flip that mindset and see that my problems are temporary and my solutions can be permanent, so that I don't get stuck in comfortable discomfort.
Now, for the guy in the Reddit post that was dumped, that was crying, why was he crying? I don't get it. Why was he crying? The girl had been talking about the fact that she's unhappy in the relationship, and I'm sure that she had told him things about the relationship that she was unhappy about, and that she had probably given him suggestions on how they would work around it, but he did not consider that as something that he's supposed to put effort into. Like he said, that he thought it was a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness. I don't get that permanent unhappiness. So he expected her to be permanently unhappy and stay in the relationship, because I don't understand. The fact that she was unhappy, there was nothing he was going to do about it. It was going to be permanent, and that she should tolerate it. Is that what he meant by that word or by that statement? Because it doesn't make sense to me. I should be in a relationship and I should tolerate permanent unhappiness because of what? did they chain the both of us together? I don't get it. And the fact is that a lot of relationships are like this. The guys will pretend as if they don't know that what's going on, and the women are talking. I don't like this. I don't like how the relationship is going. I don't like what is going on in the relationship. And they will do as if they cannot hear. But when the lady decides to move on and leave them, they'll be like, oh, I was blindsided. I did not know. It just came out of nowhere. The breakup came out of nowhere. And so many things that they say. And I'm like, there is no how. Most times, a lady who wants to leave a relationship, she has not talked about the things that she does not like. She probably would have tried to resolve it, let them work together. And because they are not feeling the unhappiness, they don't feel like they should resolve any issue that their women are talking about. But when they leave, they begin to say, oh, she abandoned me. Oh, I was blindsided. Oh, I did not know this was coming. But most ladies would have been talking about it. And most men would say, oh, she's nagging or something. Or no, she can't tolerate it. Like he said, tolerable level of permanent unhappiness. Now, the best part of this Reddit story was that after she left, after the ex-girlfriend left, she was thriving. Meanwhile, the guy was crying and feeling all sort of way. And personally, I feel like he was not crying because, oh, he really likes the girl. I think he was crying because his comfort level has been removed. He's no more in the comfort zone. All the things she used to probably do for him, she's not going to be doing it for him, and he does not know how he's going to get somebody else to do it for him at that point in time. That's what I feel. I don't feel like he was crying because he liked her, because if he liked her, he would have listened to what she was saying about the relationship and try to work towards making the relationship better, and not think that she should continue to tolerate the unhappiness that she felt in the relationship. Anyway, I don't know what you guys think about the statement, tolerable level of permanent unhappiness. I have a problem with that permanent unhappiness. Not even something that is not that is temporary. It's permanent. So it's just supposed to continue suffering and smiling, because a lot of people do that. They suffer in their relationship, but they're smiling outside. People don't know what's going on. And he was expecting his girlfriend, not even a wife, girlfriend, to continue to suffer in the relationship when he did not chain her to him, when she's not married to him. Like, girlfriend, I don't get it. That statement still blows my mind. Permanent, like permanent unhappiness. Oh my goodness. Anyway, guys, that's my own opinion about this whole situation. I don't know what you guys think about it. Do you think that people are supposed to tolerate permanent unhappiness in their relationship and continue to suffer and smile in the relationship? Or do you think that when you reach a level of unhappiness and the other partner is not willing to resolve the issues in the relationship, do you think it's okay to leave the relationship? I would love to hear your thoughts about this whole situation. So please leave your comments in the comment section so that we can get this discussion popping. Now, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not yet subscribed and you like videos such as this, please consider subscribing by clicking on the red button that says subscribe, and don't forget to click on the bell notification icon by the side so that you're notified anytime I upload videos. Now, with all that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.